everyone. Good morning. We do have some folks joining us from Zoom. So good morning, good evening, very early morning if you are joining us from Taiwan. My name is Liana Chen. I am Associate Professor of Chinese and International Affairs. And I'm the Director of the Taiwan Education and Research Program at the George Washington University. So it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to today's event. I have a few words to share with you about the programming of our Taiwan Education and Research Program, or TERP. TERP was established in 2004 by Professor Edward McCord to promote and support academic and policy-related study and research on Taiwan. TERP in the recent years has supported the creation of the Taiwan Resource Center at GW Skelman Library and has also sponsored policy workshops on the Taiwan affairs, course developments, seminar, lecture events. Through these events and activities, we hope to enhance holistic understanding of Taiwan's history, and its social, economic, political, and cultural developments to prepare students, researchers, and policymakers in the greater Washington area to better engage in Taiwan-related issues globally. Today's event is co-sponsored by the Taiwan Academy of DC. I would like to thank Hu Fanhe for her helping TERP organize this wonderful event. I also would like to thank my colleagues, Adam Bubanaj, Richard Haddock, Malin Oliver, and Alexa Jubin for their behind-the-scene coordination and efforts. It is now my great pleasure to introduce our speaker, Kevin Chen. Kevin Chen began his career as an actor, starring in Taiwanese and German films, such as Ghosted, Kung Bao Hun, and Global Player. Now he's a writer based in Berlin, Germany. He has published several novels and short story collections. Today he will be talking about his award-winning novel, and just a few days ago we learned that he has won another very important literary award in Taiwan. So many congratulations to that. So Ghost Town, Guilifang, was recently translated into English and is now available in print in the US. Our discussant, Dr. Claire Chen, is visiting assistant professor of University of Maryland, College Park. Dr. Chen received her PhD in comparative literature at Indiana University, Bloomington. Her primary research interests include comparative literature, memory studies, modernism, transnational writings, travel writing, Asian American literature, and film studies. If you are joining us via Zoom, you are invited to share your comments and questions using the chat box. We will collect the questions and ask them on your behalf during the Q&A session. So please join me now in giving a warm welcome to Kevin Chen.
Thank you, Leanna. Thank you so much. We actually go way back. We went to the same program in Taiwan. Actually, we never met in Taipei, though.
Yeah. 4 years earlier.
Well, maybe just 1 year. You're too good, and then you can something. Yeah, but it's good. It's good to see you here. So I'm here to talk about my book, which is on the table. Obviously, I'm not going to talk. Has anyone already read this book? So we have 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so 4. Yeah. So the thing is, I think it's really awkward to talk about the book because I actually believe that the only access to get to know a book is by reading. Yeah, so talking is not necessarily helpful. And I don't know if you've been to a lot of authors' events, a lot of them could be extremely boring. Yeah, so especially what I hate is reading, because a lot of authors are not exactly readers. And so I'm not going to torture you with my reading, okay? So I'm just going to share with you the journey for writing this novel. So this book is called 鬼地方. We actually struggle a lot with the title, the translation. What is the 鬼地方? I mean, you guys are basically learning already, our native speaker for Chinese. What is the 鬼地方? It's a very ambiguous term. That's why I love it. I love the ambiguity of this term because it's literally impossible to find a perfect term that would translate this term into English. Okay, so we couldn't really actually find a good English term. So we went through with my translator, Darryl Sturck, who's Canadian. He is a wonderful Taiwanese wife, and when he was working on the translation, he sometimes gave me a lot of feedbacks. And on this point, we actually discussed a lot. And because 鬼地方, what is a 鬼地方? The literal translation will be 鬼. What is 鬼? 鬼 is ghost, right? 地方 is a place. So we can say, oh, it's a ghost place. But what does that mean? You know, ghost place. It's even grammatically incorrect, I guess, because you need an adjective, right? It's ghost is not exactly an adjective. So then we came up with the second one, which eventually became the final title. It's Ghost Town. But what is a ghost town? When you think of ghost town in America, what do you think of? I mean, what pops into your head? It's like, I don't know. Someone told me that it's usually like an abandoned town that used to be like where gold rush used to happen, and now it's abandoned. Now, yes.
Yeah, it made me think about Halloween. That means a place has been haunted by some kind of ghost.
Yes.
Spirit.
Yeah, but now that's the thing. You know, that's not exactly that's not at all what I wrote about. You know, so it's really tricky, and it can also be a God-forsaken place because in Chinese, when we don't like this place, we can say this is a 鬼地方. For example, if we came to this room, you know, where we are, little family comments, and it's, oh my God, this comments is 鬼地方, yeah, because you don't like it. Or your students here in GW, right? You can say, oh, GW is such a 鬼地方, you know. If you go to the hashtag of 鬼地方, you don't just find my books, actually, you'll find a lot of interesting complaints. Yeah, and obviously, you're from Hong Kong, right? Obviously, this term is being very much used in Hong Kong, in Cantonese, that's where in Hong Kong. So it's also a term, a phrase that we use a lot in our daily language, but it's also a spooky place, and a haunted place. And I think now it's a great time to talk about this book because now we have Halloween here in America. And for me, is okay. I don't know what Halloween is really, because we don't really have Halloweens in Taiwan. Now we slowly we started to have some sort of Halloweens, but it's not a thing at all in Taiwan. And I live in Berlin. Taiwanese live in Germany. There we don't have Halloweens. Well, yeah, a little bit. You know, it's sort of like it has become some sort of torture device for the parents in the kindergarten. You know, because the parents get a note say next Saturday we will have a Halloween party and you have to dress your kids up. Yeah. But other than that, you know, trick or treat or something like it simply doesn't happen. You know, we don't have that. And so for me, it's like I've been here in America for almost 2 weeks, and if I hear the term spectaculars again, you know, I'm going to scream. Yeah, but everywhere I go, there's a ghost, you know. So, and I just came from New York this morning, and New York, you know, I was walking around in the really nice area, the West Village, and all these townhouses of the really rich people, and they really spend money and energy decorating their front doors, you know, with ghosts and skeletons and the pumpkins. And I think that dedication is something I don't understand. Really, I really don't understand. So, but in our daily language, we really use this term a lot. Sometimes when we feel out of place, like we don't belong to this place, we feel uncomfortable in this place. We can also say, oh, this is a 鬼地方, or just you're complaining all the time. And earlier this year, I was actually invited back to the writing residency at 驻校作家 program in National Taiwan University. So that's way before the book, the English one was published. With the students, we had like a panel discussion, you know, talking about the possibility of translation, especially this title. And some students they say, oh, you can make it shithole, you know, and indeed, shithole and hellhole is also 鬼地方. Yeah, but just think about this. Think about the cover of the book, Shithole by Kevin Chen. Yeah, and would that be a bestseller? I'm not sure. Would that be picked up by the New York Times? We're not sure. But just the ambiguity of this term is so interesting. There's so many levels of meanings. That's why I love it. So that's, I think I want to go back to the very, this character, this word, 鬼. first, because what is ghost? So this talk about this very Chinese character first, because I love the evolution of this very character. We all know that sometimes, not all the time, but with the shape of forms of one very character, we can tell the meaning of it, right? Especially this word, actually. The evolution. So let's go to the evolution of this character. It was first found on the Oracle bone script. It was actually the turtle shell. It was actually really complete writing system already, and they found this word already. So it was the very first initial original form of this character, and it looked like that. It's actually it's very much like a painting, like a Victorian imagination, right? Because actually it has head, like a giant head, and then has some kind of physical conditions. It was probably crouching or limping, and it's very much based on the imagination of what they believe monster or creature would look like. Okay, so that was their belief in creature or in spirits, or I don't know, any kind of ghost. Yeah. And then it slowly evolved into the second one, which is a bronze transcription. It looked like that. And then small steel script, and eventually it became this very word, this very character that we know today. Okay, so what is a ghost? So we just talked about Autobiography. Do you guys believe in ghosts? It's a tricky question, right? You just shake your head, and what? So you don't at all.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, not at all. Great, that's great. That's really, I love that. But the thing is, we in Taiwan, it's not a yes or no question, because like Liana, do you believe in ghosts? You do, right? Okay. Taiwanese usually believe in ghosts. Why is that? Because ghosts is a very important part of our culture. It has become so important that it actually dominates our daily life. In this book, this book is essentially about 24 hours on a very special day in summer, which is Zhongyuan. It's a very important day in the ghost month. What is the ghost month? So it literally lasts a month, like 30 days. It's not the calendar, not according to the calendar that we use now. It's according to Nongli, so the traditional moon calendar. And it's usually happening, I think, July and August, right? Yeah, so the whole month, I'm not talking about anyone else, I'm just talking about my family, okay? The whole month, there's so many do's and don'ts, usually don'ts, okay? So don't go swimming, don't get married, don't get a divorce, don't travel, don't fly, don't take a bus, don't take a train, and all these don'ts. Why is that? Because during this month, the gates to hell was actually opened. So all the spirits, all the ghosts from the past were trapped down there, will be released, and they're just roaming about in this world with us. Okay, so there's a very important day called Zhongyuan, which can be found in every Chinese-speaking society. It's very important. So like in my family on this very day, it's really a huge celebration. Well, it's essentially about fear. Okay, we will prepare a feast for food to feed the ghosts, because they're obviously hungry. They spend a year in hell without proper food. So we prepare pork and duck and I don't know, everything, for them, so that if they're well fed, they're not hungry anymore, they will not come and bug us and harm us. That's the idea, So that's a very important day. And so I just want to ask any Taiwanese here, this is the thing that this culture has become so important, so dominant that it becomes part of your physical action, your daily life. For example, I want to ask Liana, I'm sorry, you're the victim. When you go into a hotel, okay, let's say you check into a hotel, right? And then you get a card. Let's say you got a room, it's called 444. Okay. And wait, and you cannot, that's the last room. I'm sorry. Yeah. And you have to get in there. Before going into the room, what would you do?
I know that I should knock on the door.
Yes.
Yeah, but I don't do that.
You don't do that, right? Okay, so you know why we knock on the door? Okay, take a guess. Is it good? Yes, of course. Somehow we believe that every hotel room is taken by spirits and ghosts, and we believe that just by the simple gesture of knocking on the door, they will be like, "Someone's coming in." So they will be going through the wall and just giving you the room, which is entirely absurd, So, but that's the thing, that has become so important. Like basically, even if you don't do that, but you know that you're supposed to do that. So I have a story. I have this very good friend from college. There's a girl she was dating a Frenchman. So they took a wonderful vacation. When they are now happily married. But back then they took a vacation in Bangkok, and we believe that Bangkok is especially haunted, really. Yeah. So yeah, and the Thai people in Bangkok, they believe that as well. Really, it's a big thing there. And so before going to the room, the Frenchman was about to go into the room just with a car, and my friend just stopped him and said, "Wait, you have to knock." And the French guy was like, "There's no one in there." And she said, "You're ghosts." Yeah. And just imagine this guy from Paris, he was like, "I'm gonna break up with you," right? So this, because it simply it has become so important in our life. So now I'm going to tell you true stories that happened to me in the past few days. So I came to New York just last week, and so I was living in Chelsea, and I hated Chelsea. It's so New York, like everything is so polished, And so I decided that, for my second hotel, I wanted to see something real. I needed reality, for my fiction, for my research. And so I don't know if you know Brooklyn, there's an area called Sunset Park, Brooklyn. Okay, so it's really on the other side of the town, and it's not Chelsea at all. Okay. But it's lovely. I love it. I love the cultures there, the food there, and everything is so much cheaper and wonderful. But the thing is, when I checked in, I got my key card, and I wanted to go. I was thinking, hey, because I just gave a talk in New York Public Library that day, so I was thinking, should I knock? Because I talked about this, with Americans today. So yeah, that's stupid, So I just went in. I saw a man. There was a man in there. I was like, oh, sorry. Yeah, and I closed the door. I was like, did I really see him? So is it a physical person? But it's like, wait, yeah. So okay, I must have seen him. So I went down and I went to the reception, and I told him, there's a guy up there, so you give me a room. He said, no, that's our last room. So the people checked out. There's no one there. I said, no, I saw a person. And he didn't believe me. It always been difficult. So eventually I convinced him. He went out, and like 5 minutes later, he came down shouting, "Call the cops! Call the cops!" So, and I had to wait in the lobby for like 2 hours to get my room, and the cops had to come and drag that person out who was like, who was obviously enjoying very much my room. And today, I just checked in the hotel, now I'm like 15 minutes away from here. So that I was like, that happened to me in Brooklyn, right? This would not happen here, right? Come on, this city is not haunted. That's stupid. I opened with my coffee without knocking. Again, there was a man in there. I'm not kidding. I have a picture to show you. He come to me. Just a few hours ago, I was like, okay, this time I'm going to take a picture to make sure I'm not lying. So I took a snapshot. There was a man. I was like, okay, so I stepped back and closed the door again. I was like, okay, this is not happening. So I went in to make sure I actually saw this man. And I was like, excuse me. And he was like, oh, hi. And then actually it turned out that I scared him. He thought I was some kind of ghost, So he was an engineer just fixing the air conditioning thing. Yeah. But this happened to me. So maybe knocking would have been a good idea. So yeah, the thing is, actually in my book, the borderline was the between ghosts and people actually very much blurred. I enjoy that very much. If you have read the book, so maybe my experience it's just I don't know. Is it just exactly what I wrote about in the book? I don't know. Yeah. So and let's talk about Hamlet, which is a very important part in my book as well, because I actually wrote about Hamlet. I mean, have you guys read Hamlet or seen Hamlet? Of course, right? Even if you don't know anything about Shakespeare, you have heard of Hamlet, right? And how did Hamlet realize that his father was murdered?
Ghost.
Yes, of course. And I was 16 when I read Hamlet for the very first time. I was really surprised that, hey, so they have ghosts in UK as well. English ghosts, well, Danish, yeah, because it's a Danish prints. Yeah, but still, I was really like surprised and mesmerized. So I started, my research on different ghosts. And I realized that the ghost is actually a common motif and common thing for a lot of writers. And I love writing about ghosts because it's in this book especially, because I realized one thing: ghosts are wonderful characters actually, because they can go through the walls, they can travel through time, and they can get all the secrets and everything that we human beings with flesh and blood cannot get hold of. They can somehow have access to that. So they're actually wonderful devices. So next time if you're writing, you have no idea how to continue, maybe get a character or a ghost. Yeah. So do you have supernatural experiences? Especially those who don't believe, of course, you don't have that, But I just want to tell you that I didn't believe in that either until one thing, because in Taiwan, all the boys, we have to serve in the military. It's compulsory. So I served almost 2 years in the Air Force, in the radar station, in the very south of Pingdong, and the mountain was called Dahanshan. So there, I did have some sort of supernatural experience that I could not explain. I felt the presence of something that I couldn't see. I tried everything in the world to explain what happened. But I was not the only one who experienced, actually 3 of us, 3 boys, we all experienced that something came into our room and it was there with us, we couldn't see it, and everything went black and we couldn't turn on the lights and everything, it's just, and we couldn't explain that. But if you ask any man in Taiwan, if you ask them about their supernatural experiences, usually they'll bring you back to the military services. Somehow that's how it happens. I don't know why, but that's what happened to me too. So the thing is, later I'm going to bring you to some swimming pools, but we did talk about swimming, right? Just during this month, my mom would not allow me to go swimming. Obviously, why? Because she believed that there are ghosts in water. Okay, so it has become something that is so dominating in your life, and that's why I think it's, for me, it was such a fun thing to do when I was writing about ghosts in this book. And so, okay, let's just talk about 鬼地方, this term. We now know it's really virtually impossible to find a perfect term for it. We use ghost town for the book, but I really enjoy the German expression for this one, which is at the bottom of this slide. It's called Arschlevel. Anyone speak German here? Yes, you do. So you know what that means, right? I mean, Arsch means ass, like your buttock, right? Like pretty much close, okay, ass. The veil of the word, and the ass of the word is a 鬼地方, meaning like a godforsaken place. And I really love expression, so I want to share that with you. So this was me. I was one, adorable. Look at that. It's terrible. Time is not kind. And I was one. I want to share with you this adorable picture because I was actually, I'm from a big family. I have 7 sisters and 1 brother and the 9th. So guess, why do I have so many sisters? 7 sisters, 7 older sisters. Come on, it's an easy one.
Your family wanted a son.
Sure. So my parents tried 7 times. After 7 unwanted daughters, they eventually got my brother, who was a perfect son for them. So why did they have me again, the 9th? I was born on the year of 1976. Take a guess. It was the year of dragon.
Oh.
So, so my parents were calculating, wait, so if you try it again now, so maybe next year we'll have a dragon baby and it could be a dragon son. Because it's not just about dragon baby, they want a dragon son as well. That's how I came to this world. But the thing is, I'm from this crazy family where the daughters are unwanted. Really, my parents were always very vocal about this. They always told my sister that you're not going to get anything from this family. You're just gonna go out, find someone to get married, and we're gonna kick you out. They were very vocal about this. They always said it out loud that everything will go to my brother and me, because we are the ones, with penises, and they were really vocal about that. And just think about that climate in the family, that all the daughters who are wonderful sisters are unwanted. And my brother was totally spoiled, me as well. But somehow I had a very, very close relationship with my sister. And then later I realized it has a lot to do with my sexuality, because at one point I realized that I was an unwanted son because I'm gay. So and to talk about a perfect son, my brother was a perfect son. He was heterosexual at the age of 18. Well, he had lots of girlfriends and terrible girlfriends. But at the age of 18, that one got pregnant. And at the age of 19, they already had their first child. And that was a son. Yeah, who will carry on the name of Chen, So my brother was this perfect son, and my parents adored him. And I was this weird kid who I was playing piano, I wanted to do some modern dancing, and I wanted to do writing, I wanted to become an actor. I was practicing in front of TV. That's someday I would win an Academy Award, and all this, and my parents simply couldn't understand me. I don't think the term of homosexuality existed in their system. I don't think so. They're gone, yeah. But I always think that if today they're still with us, I don't think that they will be able to take me as I am. I don't think so. For years, I was believed that I was the disgrace of the family. I think I'm pretty much still the disgrace of the family. I wrote a book that is loosely based on my family, So, but the thing is, because of the struggles and this, the dramatic elements that my family possess, I realized, I have to write a book about this. And so, but instead of telling you what I wrote about this book, I just, which is literally a torture, I just wanted to bring you to some 诡地方 that I went to when I was writing this book. Okay, a lot of crazy places. Okay, like the first one, we talked about pool. This is where I learned swimming. I was not allowed to learn swimming when I was a kid because my mom believed that the ghosts in the water were too powerful for my little body. But when I was hitting puberty, somehow she decided, okay, it's okay, you can go. And so this is where I learned swimming, and it's called Yongjing, my translator, my wonderful translator, translated this into the eternal prosperity pool. So it's supposed to be, eternally prosperous. But when I was collecting material for this book, I went back and this is what I saw. I realized, the gate was open, was abandoned, the water was dried up, and it's in this state. And I was just really sad because that's, that for me, that's, I have a lot of memories of laughter and joy. But at the same time, I was mesmerized. But the beauty of this ruin is really, it looks so pretty. I love it so much that I decided that, this 诡地方 has to be part of my book. Okay, so, and the thing is funny, that year when I was writing the book, I was traveling as well. I went to Greece. Anyone from Greece? Yeah, I really recommend Greece. It's wonderfully affordable, and people are really nice. It's really safe, and if you want to visit one of the islands, avoid Santorini because it's really over tourism is a terrible situation there. Go to this island because it's really not. It's not really that famous. It's wonderful. It's called Edina. You just take a ferry like an hour later from the port south of Athens. You can be there. And next to my hotel, after checking in, I saw this. This is abandoned, right? I mean, imagine this. I mean, I thought it was so beautiful. So I was writing this book of 诡地方, and I found this place. See, it's like a slide with the clowns are scary, right? But imagine this place. This used to be a colorful and happy place, but now it's like this. Okay, and this, just think about this. I don't know why. And it's just right next to my hotel, and I just took a bike. And just a few miles away, this is like, okay, this looks like a wonderful beach resort, right? Like really nice, you can have wonderful some of the cocktails, and it's a wonderful bay. It's abandoned. It's entirely abandoned. It's just spooky. And I went in there, all the beds and mattresses and things are still there, but it's entirely abandoned. And I was trying to ask around, is it because is it the result of the 2008 financial crisis or something? I don't know. But I couldn't really get an answer, partly because of the language barrier. But it's just, I loved it, and that was the pool of the, once beautiful hotel, and I just don't know why. I don't know about you guys, but I love these broken places. Yeah. And do you guys like people? That's a silly question, okay? Because you live in DC, I guess it's difficult to avoid people, right? But if you don't like people, I really recommend this place, okay? Because you don't see people at all. Next to the island, it was called Okina, but next to the island, there's a smaller island. It's really, really small. It's called Moni Island. You have to take a ferry. Let's take a picture with the peacocks on the right. You have to take a ferry. Well, it's not exactly a ferry, it's like a fishing boat, but you just pay them like €5. And they will bring you there, and it's literally deserted. No one lives on the island. And who lives on the island? Peacocks. So they will be greeting you there. See, that was me. And the island's full of hundreds and thousands of peacocks and deers, and they're wild. And just deers are really shy. Peacocks are not shy. And I just want to share with you a funny video. Do you know what peacocks sound like? Can anyone do peacocks for me? Oh, come on, you have a zoo here, right? Do you have a zoo in DC? You must have peacocks, right? I love the sound of peacock. They're so I cannot describe that. But this is the video I took. Obviously, I took at Moni Island, and it's like a duet between me. It's really absurd. I'm sorry. I apologize first, but this is my duet between me and the peacocks. Hear that?
Wow, you're so pretty. Okay. Wow. 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 Wow.
I was like, I'm from Taiwan. I'm not going to lose this thing. And so it's crazy, right? But just, okay, peacocks, I love them. They're crazy. And on this island, they're just, because I don't know why, they're not afraid of people at all. They follow you around. As a matter of fact, for me, they're very much like puppies. They're like doing this to you, and I could even touch them. And I was like, excuse me, are you really peacocks? Are peacocks supposed to behave like this? And there's also a place in Berlin, which is a beautiful place. It's a UNESCO Heritage Island, actually. It's called found in the Peacock Island. And on that island, it's beautiful, especially now with the Indian summer. It's an island full of wild peacocks. So if you ever go to Berlin, if you like nature, please go there. It's a wonderful hike. Now let's go to Berlin. Okay, so this is Berlin. Can you guess what's this place? Yes? If you know the answer, please don't say that. Do you know the answer? Okay, then don't say it. Yeah. Anyone take a guess? What's this place? It's really famous. Yes, please.
Looks like part of the Eastern Bloc.
Okay. Yeah, because yes, you're right. Because actually, it's in the eastern part of Berlin. That used to belong to the communist regime. So
Politburo.
What's that?
Like a Politburo building.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes.
A library?
Library. Wow, that's a wonderful answer, because later I'm going to tell you why that is a wonderful answer. Anyone else?
Hospital?
Hospital. Would you go to a hospital if you look like this? If you just injure yourself, I like, in front of this thing, is it going to save me? So it used to be a factory. That's the factory. And now it's called Berghain. It's the most famous nightclub in Berlin. Yes. Not just in Berlin, actually usually elected #1 in the world. If you're a techno lover, rave music lover, this is the ultimate place of sin that you have to visit. A lot of young people visit Berlin not to see the historical sites or to experience Cold War or history or whatever. No, they're just for this very nightclub, okay? And this was a picture I took during the daytime. you see all the fences and things, right? Because when the night falls, the line, you say line or queue? Line, okay, will be like, literally miles. I'm not kidding. You have to usually line up, stay in the line for 3 to 4 hours just to get in. Why is that? Because there is a very evil but powerful bouncer at the entrance. He gets to decide if you are eligible to get in. And it has nothing to do with your race, your gender, your look, your whatever. It's his mood. Yeah. So, and he's a very famous photographer as well. And he was actually once invited by a goodness to Taipei to talk about his photography. And the thing is, nobody knew him in Taipei. So I heard that only 6 people showed up. Well, oh my God, this is like one of the most powerful persons in Berlin, and nobody knows in Taipei. He will control your access to this nightclub. And this nightclub, I've been in there once. I was too lazy and I go to bed way too early for this. A dancer friend of mine was working for a very important modern dance ensemble in Berlin. He could get us on the list. And so we could get in without being, in the line. And that was a wonderful experience because we were just going through the line like, you sucker. And then we went to the very end and said, oh, well, yeah, just check the name. Yeah, Kevin Chen. Yeah, and we got in. Yeah. And it was a factory. It is essentially still a factory. So imagine that echo in there, and it didn't change the thing. And so that acoustic environment was amazing, but at the same time, it is the worst place you can think of. It is filthy. Yeah, so I'm not going to tell you what our place is about, and because you can just Google and you will see a lot of crazy comments. I think in the night you can see all the things that you're not supposed to see. Just in the night. And a lot of young people actually going there Thursday night, they don't come out until Monday morning. I'm not kidding. Yeah, so we were there for like an hour. We were like, oh, let's go home and get some ramen. Yeah, so that's old people. But what I can say is that the second floor is especially amazing because the second floor is called Panorama Bar. It's designed by a very wonderful German photographer called Wolfgang Tillmans, who is having his very first solo exhibition now in MoMA in New York City. So that was wonderful, that bar. I've never seen a more beautiful, crazy bar in my life. Yeah, so this is like this. And you said that you could have been a library. That's a wonderful answer because did you go to Beinu? Okay, did anyone here go to Beinu? Okay, Beinu is like the most difficult high school to get in for girls in Taipei. It's called Taipei's first girls senior high school. And I gave a talk there, and it was I showed this slide, right? So what's this place? And everybody right away said, it's a library. I was like, excuse me, just like you. I'm like, so did you go to that school? Obviously not, but because they just took me out. That's what their library. Their library looked like this, So for them, that's their library. But if you're over 18, and you want to see something filthy, go. Yeah, but you didn't hear that from me. Yeah. So let's go back to my hometown, which is very much the book is about. My hometown is called Yongjing. And there's a temple in there that I really wrote about in this book. It's a very small temple. It just literally looks like this. They found like in 19th century a drowned lady there. The drowned lady came with the water, and they found the body right here. So in order to honor this drowned lady, they just built a small temple right here. So for us, it's like a regular temple that we worship. We always knew that it was about a drowned lady, and somehow we do a lot of worshiping, a lot of festivals there. And what's interesting about this place is that I took it for granted. Okay, I didn't know that was special. But when I was talking about this, this book with my editor, he was like, "You have to write about this." Okay, why? Because next to this temple, like 2 yards away, was a slaughterhouse where they slaughtered the pigs. Okay, so let me tell you what happened on my way to school. So I was 7, 8, 10 on my way to school, 7 in the morning, going through this place. My mom usually was one of the women. They will be doing religious chanting stuff, morning rituals right here in this temple. And next to it, they were slaughtering the pigs. And when pigs were being slaughtered, they scream. So the screaming of the pigs were actually overlapping with the chanting of the woman, my mom being one of them. And I just took it for granted, but obviously it's not. No, yeah, so this is a crazy, magical, film-based space. And when they were chanting here, the blood from the pigs, the slaughtered pigs, will actually become a river, and just they were flowing into the temple. So looking back, it was just such a magical and space that I had to write about. And it's not just that. In front of this temple is actually like a small square. That's where, for the very first time in my life, I saw a movie. That was my very first cinematic experience. I don't know if your generation still watches movies. I'm talking about like a big screen. It's not Netflix or HBO Max or Hulu or Disney Plus. No, I'm talking about a proper big screen. Do you guys still do that, you kids? That's great, because for me, a cinematic experience is not Netflix at home, Okay, can anyone tell me what's the difference of watching a film on Netflix at home and in the cinema? What's the difference? Yes? Surround sound, yeah. But if you're really rich, if you're like say you're Kanye West and you build one at home,
It's the ambiance.
ambience. Okay, that's a good answer. Anything?
It kind of forces you to watch the whole movie in one sitting.
That's good because at home you have a remote control. How many things we actually didn't finish on Netflix? You can pause, and then at the same, because when you're in the black box of the cinema, you actually finish it. Even if it's like a 3-hour French art house film, you finish it. Well, you might fall asleep, but you finish it. But at home, you pause it. You have your phone next to you. Someone is calling you. Your computer is on. And there's so many distractions. So for me, a cinematic experience is about you're focusing on this thing. So yeah, that's a great answer. Anyone? Yeah, for me, but anyone, I love this wonderful cinematic experience. In my town, this small town, for me, a town is a city when it has a cinema. Of course, we didn't have a cinema. We had to travel to the next town, a bigger town, which I wrote about in the next book, to see a film in a cinema. But how did I get to see a film? They played the film right here in the square, so it was an open air cinema. The open air cinema, the Taiwanese term, I'm not sure how they call it in other places, other Chinese speaking places. In Taiwan, we call it 蚊子电影院, mosquito cinema. Yeah, see, because you're in the open air, in tropical weather, it's basically all you can suck for buffet for the mosquitoes. They're like, yeah, people, so you're watching the film at the same time you have to fight, off the mosquitoes and just imagine this, the town people, the village people in my hometown, we have never seen a film, okay? And a group of people from the city, they just built like a big wide screen. And then, the night fell, and then we went there after dinner, and everyone was there, literally. It was really crowded, and we were doing barbecue and eating stuff. It was smoky, and suddenly rays of light just, they came out of this projection machine, and they just were projected on the big screen. Imagine that magical moment for the people who have never seen this. And suddenly people from distance, they were here with us in this small town. We saw stars, we saw people, we saw clouds and waterfalls. We didn't have waterfalls, and we didn't have a river, and we saw those things. I don't remember that film that I saw, the title of that film, but I remember that magical moment when everyone was like, it's like, for me, it's like quite a when you see a ghost. Yeah, so that's what I play with this in this book very much. Yeah, so this square is where I saw the film for the very first time. And that's the train station of my hometown. For me, it was always a place where I planned my escape route, because I wanted to escape. I was not happy. I didn't know why I was not happy. I just felt trapped. I wanted to get out. I wanted to go to Taipei. I wanted to see America, and I wanted to see different places. And I was planning that I could just take a train from this place and just travel north and just get out, just go somewhere. but it never happened until the age of 18. And I just saw a very interesting slogan right there. It's called education is transformational. It changes lives. It is, because that's what it did to me. Because at the age of 18, because I studied really hard, so I got to, okay, as a dragon boy, because I'm from the dragon year, it was really difficult to get into the university because there was a baby boom. So the competition was really fierce. So I just worked really hard to get into university. And for me, that was indeed, education. It was an access. It was a tool I could use to get away. So I could finally go to a college, in Taipei. So I could take a train from this place and just get out. That's just something I found as some kind of random wall in my hometown. I don't know if you have you see, I found a lot of them in New York City as well. Just random people just put random stickers of advertisement on the walls. I'm sure you have that here as well. And what I love about this is that now it's the time of internet, right? But still, people in my hometown, if they want to fix a sofa, if they want to go to a fortune teller, if they want to sell a car or get a mortgage, which is illegal, and those things, they still go to those stickers and they call those numbers. And this is Berlin. Also, next time you're in Berlin, just go to the cities. You go to find these stickers. Okay? I'm telling you this because obviously it's part of my book. Stickers. Those stickers are actually, they carry interesting messages. They will bring you to crazy places. This is just another regular wall in the countryside, in the hometown of mine. And what I find interesting, again, we just talked about internet. Who doesn't have, people, when now, I don't know about you kids now, how do you meet people, because now people meet their partners through Tinder, it has become an orthodox way, right, to meet a proper person, right? But before internet, what did they do? But even now, people are using Tinder and other dating apps. In my hometown, we still have this. This one, this side, it's a Mei Gong, it's a matchmaker. And what I found interesting was I was standing in front of this wall. I was like, okay, obviously I'm going to call. So I called this number. I wasn't expecting that anyone would pick up. I was probably he or she was not doing this business anymore. But it was a he who sounded like a grandpa. He was actually really doing this business. So he obviously had a list to ask, so what was I doing? And I just wanted to play with him. So I was just brutally honest with him. I just said, I'm sorry, I'm gay. So I don't know if you can provide service for that. And he was like, okay, what do you mean you're gay? I said, I'm a guy and I'm looking for another guy. And he was like, hold on a second. Okay. And then he just disappeared. He came back like 10 seconds later and said, I will call you back. And I thought that was it, right? And I just forget about it. And somehow 2 days later, he called back. He said, oh, Mr. Chen, I found a solution for you. And I was like, what? And that's when I just like, no, thank you. I'm just a writer. I'm just doing research. But I could find a solution for me. I still don't know what solution was about, but it did. But anyway, if you have ever found a partner through this guy, this grandpa, who really sounded like a grandpa, and you're not happy, there's a way in and there's a way out, and you want to get divorced on the same wall right down there. You can find a notary who offers, divorcing services, and you can call that number and you can get a divorce. And I love that. It's just, even though we have internet, but still they have all these things. And now we have these two banners because now you're now having a midterm election, right? Yeah, so we are about to have midterm election in Taiwan as well, which is quite important. So obviously everyone is happy, we're fighting, and I must tell you that the political climate in Taiwan is very much like here, very much. The two parties, the way they attack each other, and some ideas, ideology is very much the same. But you know what? I enjoy that. Because we in Taiwan, we as well, we have a very vibrant, colorful, loud election culture. And I love that because we all know that a lot of people in a lot of countries they still don't get to vote. And I love how loud we can be and how annoying we could be, And I just want to share with you these banners because for me they're really Taiwanese. Because let's look at number 3 up there. Okay, here's one for the mayor. And I love his slogans. He said, 繁荣永进，看见希望. That's bringing prosperity to Yongjing, and we will see hope. What does it mean? That means there's no hope. And there's no prosperity, right? And if you get me, you will see hope. And then, of course, you will see prosperity. And I know this guy. Actually, my mom used to, I had to call him uncle. I have no idea. My mother was just called saying uncle, So Uncle Chen, he didn't look like this. This picture was heavily photoshopped. It's a thing we still have in Taiwan. Some of the candidates, they photoshop their pictures like crazy. And they still do. And I don't understand that because I thought this is about integrity and honesty, but no, they just somehow they polish their faces a lot and the hair and stuff. It's just a thing we do. We still do. And so I just thought it's really interesting because now you're experiencing that. And this is another thing. This was 2018, and this is before we legalized same-sex marriage in Taiwan, which is we did legalize same-sex marriage in Taiwan, and we were hoping that it would cause some sort of domino effect in Asia. It didn't happen, so we're still the very first and the only country in Asia that legalized same-sex marriage, but the process was not easy. No, and I was very much there. I went back a lot of times, and I was on the street. There were a lot of anti-gay rallies and demonstrations. They were terrible, really just terrible. I actually wrote about that in my next novel. But I wanted to show you this banner because this article, security, power of security, was founded basically because they were anti-LGBTQ. And they were out there really attacking LGBTQ community. And so their slogans were actually all just anti-LGBTQ community. Some of his slogan was, we want to get rid of the legislators who support same-sex marriage. We're against any LGBTQ education. So they were really vocal and loud and clear about it. And what I love about this culture is that you can say that, but people would use a pen to express their opinions as well. So it became like a discussion. So people just gender equality and stuff. So I saw this on the street. I was like, this is great. Because that happened. This party was founded. They were heavily sponsored by churches, but still, he didn't win. Actually, he lost big time. And eventually we did legalize same-sex marriage, and it's the things somehow they predicted that if we ever legalize same-sex marriage, that there will be fire over Taipei and the whole island will sink and all those things. It never happened. Yeah. So but I just want to share with you that we do have a very loud election culture as well. That's a summary, which I wrote about in a book. So if you ever read the book, you know what the summary is about. But this was taken, I took this picture that was in the northern shore of Germany. It's Baltic Sea. In German, we call it Ostsee. How much time do I have? I'm talking too much, right?
5 minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna speak really fast. Okay. When I was a kid, I really loved submarines. Why is that? Because it was invisible. I wanted to be invisible. It was invisible, but it still was going to places, right? It was underneath the surface. And it was very powerful. It could travel and attack, So at the same time, it was invisible. So I loved it. And this is what I saw in this small town called La Beur, and I realized, I had to write about this place. And have you ever been into a real submarine? Then you realize that no. It's claustrophobic. It's really, imagine when you have 100 men in there. Imagine that smell in there. It's not pleasant. It's not sexy at all. So that's when I realized, oh no, this childhood dream was entirely a stupid thing. And on the same beach, do you know what those are? Underwater? Yes. And they were wild, and this is, it's, of course, I'm sure you have that in the parks here in DC as well. And do you like swans?
They're aggressive.
They're very aggressive. You're right. They're terrible animals, and they attack. They're very territorial. And you know how they attack? They do this. Basically they become snakes. They're really annoying. So I was there. I was like, and this started. That was me, and they started to come to the shore. I was like, this is not good. I'm going to escape. But somehow, okay, it was like 7 in the evening, December. It was very dark already. And somehow they looked sleepy. And they were just coming on the shore. And I was like, okay, maybe just, if I just don't move, maybe they will not attack me. But they were not, they didn't have any intentions of attacking me. Or as a matter of fact, I don't think they saw me. They just wanted to come out onto the shore. And 5 or 10 minutes later, I was down, and I was surrounded by hundreds of them. And it's really amazing image, which I will write in the book. It's like I was over clouds because they're really fluffy and they're white, and it's like you're surrounded by pieces of cloud, and there's a beautiful image. We don't have much time. Let's talk about Paris. Okay. Anyone has been to Paris? Yes. Did you guys like Paris? Did you think Paris is a great地方? Okay. I'm sure if whether or not you've been to Paris, when you think of Paris, what do you think of? What goes into your head? What's fashion, love, amour, haute couture, très chic, Champs-Élysées, all those, the tower, and that's where you fall in love, those things, the river, Yeah, why? Because indeed, of all the European cities, Paris is the ultimate expression of our ideas of what love should be about, what romanticism should be about, right? So in Taiwan as well, everywhere you go, you see Paris. I don't know if you have Paris in DC, because I did see quite a few Parises in New York City. There was this shitty hotel next to the highway, it's called Paris, and it's on the way to Long Island. You can see like a proper Eiffel Tower, it's disgusting. You also have a famous Paris Hotel in Vegas. Imagine if you're from Paris and you check in the hotel for Paris, where they build a fake one, you're like, excuse me when I'm here, But they do have a very good buffet there, yeah. But see, why do we have so many Parises, especially in Taiwan? Let's just look at this one, this picture. It's called New Paris. You know what they're selling? It's in Taipei City Hall, like just down there in the subway. They're selling 麻辣卤味. So spicy braised dishes. And it's called Xinbali. You're like, okay, yeah. But you know what? As long as it's called Xinbali, it sounds, when I'm eating this duck tongue or duck neck, somehow I'm feeling très chic or something. And that makes sense. That one is a hair salon in Banqiao. It's called Golden Paris. And this one is a condo. It's in Neihu, very much next to the American Institute in Taipei, Neihu. It's called Delan Bali. So Paris is everywhere. And to me, that's really a great event. And this is in Tainan. I was in Tainan, I was doing a book talk like this. And I was just walking the street and I realized, there's a bakery. It's called Berlin. I was like, wait, they sell German bread in here. So I just rushed in and I saw roll, so 面包. So they only have Taiwanese bread in there, And I was like, I didn't see anything German. So I'm like, okay, I wanted to ask the owner. And eventually I got the owner. I said, why don't you name your bakery Berlin? Have you been there? Did you want to sell German bread and stuff? He just looked at me like, what do you mean? I said, yeah, it was called Berlin. He said, I don't know. And he really couldn't give me an answer why his bakery is called Berlin. But anyway, it's in Tainan. And this is Chelsea Market in New York City. And that's where they sell Berliner currywurst. And okay, if you ever go to New York, Chelsea, this is like in meat packing district, right? And it's like $6, $5, you get a German Berlin currywurst, which in Berlin it costs less than $2.50 maybe. Yeah, and so it's really expensive. And I had to try. And I just want to tell you that there's so many things that went wrong in this place, okay? Like currywurst, like these flags here, right? They're Bavarian. Yeah. They're not Berlin at all. Okay, and the Berliner currywurst would never come in a bun or a sauerkraut. No. But so they made so many mistakes there, but still I had to try, and it just tastes awful, really terrible. But I love these kind of 鬼地方. Why? Because actually there's so many levels of misunderstandings. Okay, so let's go to another place. Okay, this is a proper German bakery. Where did I find this place? This was in Kanazawa, Jinze, in Japan. It's a beautiful city. Please go, because Japan is open now and Japanese yen is so cheap now. It's a wonderful time to travel. Go. take a Shinkansen, the high-speed train. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's clean. It's always on time. From Tokyo, 3 hours later, you're in this city. Okay, it is a beautiful ancient city. And in the central station, after arrival, with my second sister, we found this. We're like, oh my God, there's a German bakery in a Japanese city called Kanazawa. We're like, we have to get some German bread in a Japanese bakery. I don't know. Yeah. So guess what they were selling in there? Come on. Oh, yes, sushi. They were selling Taiwan donuts. Not kidding. Yeah. And we were like, we're standing in front of like we're in Japan, Kanazawa, there's a German bakery, but there's in Taiwan donuts. Wait, it doesn't end here because we from Taiwan, we don't know what this is. Come on, and Taiwanese tell me, what's this? You know, we don't have that. What's that? And so we had to try. So we had to wait for a bit because obviously Japanese, they love anything Taiwanese now. So we waited like 30 minutes to get this donuts. And we just tasted it and told me which part of this is Taiwanese. Yeah. And why do they sell this in a German bakery in Kanazawa? It's just so many levels of misunderstandings that I love it so much. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up, but I want to share with you something. What's a typical DC souvenir? If people come here and want to buy something, what's a typical, you know? Oh, come on, if your friends come here to visit, what did they buy? Stupid, trashy souvenirs, because I saw a lot of them in New York City. Yeah, so
A hat.
Yeah,
Hat.
a hat.
Bucket hat.
Why is that? Is that a local thing?
It's a tourist thing.
It's a tourist thing. Okay, don't do that, please. Yeah, but if you come to Berlin and you want to get a souvenir, get this. It's lovely. I'm sure if you're a product development person, do this for DC, okay? Because it's gonna sell, believe me. It's a sound box. It's a sound box that collects all the sounds about Berlin. Okay, so it's just any random thing. Let's say it's S. Okay, S right here, right? S is actually the symbol of S-Bahn. So it's like a subway metro system. Okay, so if you press S, you hear this. That's when the door closes. Yeah, so if you've ever been to Berlin, you will know what that is. Okay, and something about America, since we are here in America, especially here in the DC, in the political center, you see JFK here. So let's play JFK. This is his actual recording because in 1963, he actually went to Berlin after the wall was built. So we were in the thick of Cold War and we we're always scared of a nuclear war between Russia and America and the world. And he went there. He gave a speech in English, but he did, right before he went up to the stage, he just turned around and asked people, I would say I'm a Berliner. And they told him, Ich bin ein Berliner. And he said that and became a very important sentence. And let's say, who else went there to give a speech here? I'm just, this button right here. That's the Brandenburger Tor, which is a landmark in the city. So it's. So that was Reagan. Okay, so he went there and he said, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. So later, Obama went there as well, but it was not as effective. Yeah. So, but just because all the presidents they had to make history there. Yeah. But this is a wonderful, wonderful souvenir that if you ever go there, get this one. Forget the rest; it's all trash. Yeah. But I think if you want to develop something to sell in the DC, think about this and just think about this. If it's a project, in school, like. Let's collect voices, sounds of the city that when you play this, you think of, that's DC. I don't know what, because I don't know the city at all. So that's my talk. And you can find me on all these social media platforms. It's Kevin Chen 9, because I'm the 9th, of course, as I just told you. But obviously I cannot tell you what the book is about. I'm hoping that you grab a copy, I'm just telling you that Amazon is having a crazy sale. Because somehow they made it hell price. And I just talked to the publisher yesterday in New York, and they said they didn't know why they did that, but they called Amazon and realized Amazon, they were hoping that this book would sell. So they did that on purpose. So they take it with a profit margin. So if you want to get a book, it's only $14 hardcover. And there will be some very good news about this book coming up. which I cannot share with you. But something big is about to happen. Yeah. So, but yeah, I cannot tell you, but it's going well. We got a lot of good reviews. Really, we got picked up by a lot of good reviews, and new reviews are coming in every day. One or two was nasty. It's okay. Yeah, I don't mind people being nasty to me. I love discussions. Discussion is wonderful. Happy discussion, nasty discussion, it's fine. As long as they grab a copy. As a matter of fact, I sold a copy on the train on the way to DC today because I was eating some cookies that a reader gave me yesterday. I was eating, and he looked jealous. So I gave him one, and he looked jealous again after tasting it. It's like, so you want a second? I said, you want a second one? He said, yeah. And I said, well, unless you order this book. What's that? I said, oh, yes, yeah. And I watched him order it on his cell phone on Amazon. I said, okay, now you can have the third or the fourth. Yeah. So if you enjoy reading, welcome. Just be my guest. Just whatever, whatever you do. But I just want to tell you this. This book is about getting out. We failed, obviously, to get out because eventually we all have to go home. So this is about that, But still, I want to tell you guys, because you guys are so young, please get out. Pick up the language because most Americans only can speak one language, which is a shame. So enjoy that and just pick up different languages and go out there, travel far. Just make poor decisions. And if you ever want to become a writer, please do that. And remember, always use the pain and the grudges that you hold. As a matter of fact, I think people always tell you to stop holding grudges. No, always hold grudges. They're wonderful energies that you can use them in your writing. Okay, please, if you are interested in coming to this business, talk to me. I can bring you some connections, and it's because you're not gonna die or starve, obviously, because I am not starving. I'm doing well, and so at the end of the day, it's about doing the thing that makes you feel, that makes you happy. So that my final message of this thing will be get out. Thank you.
All right, let's discuss. Yeah, let's do some of your most favorite activities. So, Claire, would you like to start?
Oh, thank you, Kevin. It's like a wonderful read.
Look at that. She took so many notes.
Yeah, so I
You
spent
guys should be ashamed.
2 evenings reading it, and it's like nonstop. Yes, it's amazing. Do you mind if I spoil a little bit of the plot? Because I think one of the ghosts in this book.
Don't. Let's not do that.
Yeah, actually, I think if I remember correctly, one of the ghosts in the story, she actually defines what the ghost really is, and then I think that's like a state of existence, in between, and also a state of existence of being in between. So I think that has something to do with Kevin's, traveling back and forth from Taiwan and staying in Germany, living for so long. I think one of the questions in the story that he has been asking, or many people have been asking in the story, was that why do you come back? And then, don't come back anymore. Then why do you go home, right? So we're always trying to get rid of some part of our past, but then it's also that past consists the identity of us. So it's kind of like a very ambivalent feelings that you don't want something from your family. We all have sort of family dramas, bad or good. But then also, if you really think about it, that's really something help you become who you are right now, right? So I was specifically wondering that because this book is it's very rich about local color, it's about regionalism, and then it's all about a lot of the legends that we heard when we were little. And it's a lot about the struggles of identities, grudges, all the family members. And I really enjoy the talk because you can see there's a boundary between fiction and biography kind of like mix in the story. I think one of the candidates, running the political campaign was actually become your brother, right?
Well, in the book, it is my brother.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was wondering, this is really Kevin.
Yeah, because obviously, my name is Kevin Chen, and the English translation, because the translator he has some translator's notes at the end of the book. When he translated the book, he decided to make Chen, which I totally agree with, because my Chinese name is Chen Tien-Hong, and in the original Chinese version, it was the character was called Chen Tien-Hong. I just wanted to play with that because I just shares a very stupid story with you guys because it's obviously a fiction, it's a novel, right? But it's my hometown, and this book is loosely based on my family. So it's after all just a fiction. And never thought too much, but I went back to Taiwan because the book was actually awarded with like one of the most prestigious awards in Taiwan. So I had to fly back in the thick of the pandemic. So I had to do 2-week quarantine, which was awful. And after the quarantine, one of the first persons I met was my a very good friend of mine who actually grew up with me. Who knew everything about me, basically. Yeah, and so she knows me very well, and she read the book. And in the book, Chen Tien-Hong, Keith Chen killed his German boyfriend and served his time in jail, and he came home. And so it's about his homecoming and his and what happens in the 24 hours after he came home. So my cousin read this book, and I saw her. I was like, hey. And she gave me a huge hug, and she started crying. I was like, oh, why? I didn't know you missed that much on my screen. She said, I didn't know you killed your boyfriend in Germany. I was like, what? I didn't know this. And she was starting telling me stories from this book. And she totally, somehow, she forgot this is a fiction. And I said, wait a minute, we grew up together. First of all, I didn't kill anyone. I could barely kill a cockroach when I see one in Taiwan. And second of all, if I served time in the jail, how could I have chatted with you every day on the messenger? And she said, oh, well, I just thought that, you German, you guys talk about human rights all the time. So in the cell, in the jail, you have like a computer and internet. But that thing, somehow people started to mix realities with this fiction. And at first I was quite annoyed, but after some point I just gave up, and I realized that actually some sort of compliment, because there were people who were so into it, even people I knew. I just want to tell you that, people always ask me, how did my sisters take this book? The truth is, they never really read it, because I don't know about you guys, but one of your family members wanted to write books, you will be supportive, and even if you are just faking it, you'll buy. But you were like, I'm not gonna read that book, Especially one time, one of my sisters really came to me and said, "Oh, please, your books are so thick and they're so difficult, And I appreciate that honesty, and that's wonderful. And as long as they buy the books, I'm fine with that. But the thing is, because this book somehow generated a lot of discussion. So people went to them, they discussed it, like, oh, your brother wrote about you, and they were like, really? So they actually went back to the books that they never opened and started reading, And let me just tell you one lunch. We were having lunch, and my sister was, I cannot tell you which, one of my sisters was reading the book like this next to me. I was like, oh my God, where are you? I'm like, shit, this chapter is very much based on what happened to her. So so this is not going well. I was like, sis, you don't have to read that. You don't have to pretend that. And she said, no, my friend said that you wrote about me. So I have to find out what you wrote about me. I'm like, oh, this is bad. This lunch is going bad. We're going to fight like crazy. It was a sushi restaurant. And she read it. And I was like, this is, she's going to explode. And she just, put down the book, and she looked at me like, this woman is such a bitch. And I was like, okay. Yeah, so this kind of remind me of something that we were doing in high school, some stupid game when we were doing parties that kids will just imitate one of us, and people will have to guess, So they were imitating someone, and everyone was laughing like crazy except me. And I didn't realize that guy was imitating me because I couldn't see me. I didn't realize that was me. That's how I moved. So that was pretty much maybe how my sister did, how her perception went through this thing. So you know what, no harm was caused, no harm was done there. And I think my family was actually pretty proud of what I did. And this really happened just in summer. My big sister, who was basically the only sister who still lives in this town, she went to like a market and she bought a bunch of stuff. And this girl just said, you were Chen Tien-Hong's sister, right? And she was like, wait, how did you not wear a mask? How did you know that? And somehow she recognized her because I posted a picture of, we were eating, obviously, on my Facebook, on my social media. And my sister was like, should I say yes or should I say no? But then she said, yeah, I'm his sister. She was like, oh my God, what's going to happen? And turned out this was a reader, was a fan, so she didn't have to pay. Yeah, so this actually happened. Yeah, so there are good moments and bad moments, but I think that's what families are about. Because I don't know about you guys, because we Taiwanese, I don't think that young generation there's any difference because we don't talk about feelings. We don't. Feelings is something that we should bury. We don't talk about it. We don't say it because in America we say we love you, mom. Love you, sis. If I did that to my sister, love you, sis, I'm sure she would say, what do you want? For my name? Yeah, because we don't do that. So we don't talk about feelings. We bury them. What do? We eat. Yeah, we okay, like when I travel with my sisters, because I live in Europe before pandemic, and my sisters actually visit me a lot. It's always interesting combination. Sometimes it's the second and the fourth and the sixth, sometimes the first and the third, and it's just different combination, yeah. So and as a young brother, I will have to be their tour guides. And traveling with your sisters is no fun. I don't recommend that, The first 3 days you're like happy and yeah. But of course the 4th days things start to go wrong, and you start fighting and stuff, and we don't, yeah. So but it's okay because it's family. You always say nasty things to your family. Why? Because at the end of the day they will forgive you. So it's okay to be nasty to them. So they that they will forgive you. And we will always make up with food. Yeah, so we're fighting during the day, but dinner time we'll have to eat. Suddenly we start talking because there's food. So there's always this connection build up because of food. Yeah. So and I think that's a wonderful culture that we don't talk about it, because I have some relatives in America as well, and every time when I see my cousins saying, "Mom, I love you," I'm like, "Shut up, because that's not at all my culture, our culture." Right? I don't know about you guys here because you moved here. Do you do that as well? Like, I love you and this stuff, yeah. And yeah, because I don't do that, and I'm really glad that Germans don't really do that either. Because that's why I can't really stay in Berlin because they don't do this love you thing at all, which I enjoy so much. I don't know if I answered your question at all, but because you just said this, it's very much, a lot of people believe that it's some sort of autobiography, but it's not. It's a novel, it's a fiction. But if people, they want to just, blur the bottom line, it's okay. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, so thank you very much. So there's another question that I'm curious about is that in the book you talk a lot about like remembering things, and usually it's through like senses, like hearing the rain, during summer, smell, which is low one or something. Oh yeah, Bob. Yeah. And then can you share your experiences of like how those things you have to find exact right things, and also that question's related to because you travel back and forth. So this book is really about searching. So have you found your answers in the end?
Second question first. No, I haven't found it. If I had found it, I think that would be the end. Yeah, so I love it that I haven't found it. This book is very much a question, and I don't want to find the answer. I don't think there's an answer. So it's an eternal quest, which I enjoyed very much. I think we're always in a quest. And so going back to the first, what was the first question? Oh yeah, okay, rain. Wait, okay. How does rain in DC sound like? when it rains? Is it loud? Okay, that's a, yeah, you know why I asked that? Because, okay, in Taiwan, we have a very distinctive sound when it rains because we have a lot of 铁皮屋. Our roofs, a lot of roofs are actually made of iron. So when it rains, especially in summer or in winter as well, it's loud because it's like drumming. Yeah, and that rain, that sound of rain is something that I miss a lot in Germany because we don't in Berlin, well, in Germany, we don't have 铁皮屋. We don't. The roofs are not made of that material, so you don't actually when it rains, you don't hear the rain. Not really, yeah. And I really love that because so in every city when it rains, I always just take a moment and just try to listen to the sound, and I realize that every city, I mean, really seriously, next time go to different places, they sound different. Yeah. So I think the memories that could be triggered easily by the senses. Indeed, we all know Marcel Proust. A lot of writers they actually deal with this. When it comes to food, like you talk about bawan, because bawan is a thing that is from my hometown, from Changhua. So whenever I can get that, of course, that taste always reminds me of hometown. Even though in Flushing, New York City, you get to have bawan, but they don't taste. They're not really authentic because I guess it's difficult to get the ingredients and stuff, But I think there's always something, some sort of taste that would just, remind you of some distinctive, specific moments in your childhood that brings you back to that very moment that where things started to go bad, or and I love that because it's like these senses are like really haunting you, and sometimes you believe that you have forgotten about them. Let me just tell you about something. There's this place. It's like a noodle place, like a food truck kind of thing in my hometown, and I grew up eating that noodle thing. And years later, I went back. Of course, I missed that so much. I went to that very same place and I ordered exactly the same kind of noodle soup, and it just tasted different. And my first bite, I knew it was different, even though it looked the same, it's the same truck, and everything looked the same. Then I realized, oh, the old father died. Now it's the son who was doing that, and somehow the son didn't get that. So he was cooking in his way, even though the differences were actually really subtle, but we knew. We just knew. And why is that? Because somehow the senses is like a sound box, right? It's like a box that would save all of your senses. And when it's that moment and you pause for that moment and you realize, oh, it's different. Is it bad? You don't know, but it's just different. And somehow part of us always wanted to make sure that they are intact, but it's impossible. Things move on, things change, things rot, things transform. And that's why I think this is interesting, because going home is very much about, I don't know about you guys, but for me, when my parents still alive, for me, going home was very much like, I wanted to eat something my mom cooked, so that thing. For me, that meal after coming home, and for you, it's probably Thanksgiving or Christmas or something, I don't know. So coming home and you have that thing that your mom, your family cook for you, depending on your family situation, and then you feel home. Of course, you'll fight the next day, but it's a different story. Yeah. But yeah, and I love that. It's that haunting quality of senses that I will always embrace, and that became a very big part.
I think
Sorry.
sorry.
Yeah, I do have want to remind that we have about 5 minutes.
Sure.
Okay, so maybe one more last question.
Sure.
So the question was actually related to your answer.
Sure.
I was thinking about the concept of home, because the character ran away from Taiwan and then he ran away from Germany, and I was wondering, where is the present? What is the present in the book? And then another question is that it's all about home searching. So have you, is the home now, because now maybe German, you consider German as your home, and then also maybe Taiwan, in the book, the mom and the dad all passed away. So will you still consider this place as the home, or something else? It's no longer exists? Because at the very beginning of the first page, you say Yongjing is a non-existent place.
Mhm.
So it's a place that is here.
Sure, that's a very difficult question because for me, I believe that homes are actually homes, plural. I think it's okay. So my very first hometown was Yongjing, and I moved down to the city of Changhua where I studied in high school. Then with education, and I studied really hard to get through the narrow gates. So I got into university, which is for university in Taipei. So and then I moved on to grad school. I slowly moved to Germany. It's just Taipei, Berlin, Changhua, and Yongjing. I think they're all my hometowns. Just and I enjoyed that so much that it's plural. But for me, I must say one thing that for me, home is where I can really write at this moment. I can now only write in Berlin. Okay, so because I have a desk there. Okay, because when I go back to my hometown, I still have my childhood room there. It's very much intact. My desk is there. My beds are still there. My toys, and yeah, lots of bits and pieces. But I cannot write there. I cannot even sleep in there. It feels really strange. And in Taipei, I don't have a home because nobody can afford a home in Taipei. It's so expensive. Yeah. I don't. Yeah. So I don't. I always have to stay with friends, and there I cannot write at all. And when I'm traveling, for example, now DC and New York City, sometimes if I have 3 hours, I'm like, I'm gonna write in a cafe. No, it's not gonna work. I can only do that in my desk, in my environment, in my apartment in Berlin. That's where I felt most comfortable myself. Yeah. So maybe I can tell you that home is where I can write. And I did write this book entirely in Berlin, winter, even though it's entirely in summer. It takes place in summer, the book, but I could only write in winter. So now it's good time because somehow I'm really clear-minded. I'm not clear-headed at all in summer. I hate summer. I really hate summer. Someone just told me that your summer here is not pleasant either, right? But at least in DC you have air conditioning things. Yeah, we don't. In Berlin, in Europe, we don't have air conditioners. And now with the climate change, summer we go to Celsius for I don't know how to calculate in Fahrenheit, but Celsius will go up to 40. Yeah, so I don't know what's that in Fahrenheit because you Americans use a very interesting metric that I don't understand. But Fahrenheit, yeah, so it's crazy. Anyway, so and nobody has air conditioning. So a real story, the final funny story that a girlfriend of mine was from Taiwan and he's been with a German guy forever, and the German guy has been trying so hard to propose and never worked. And this summer I told him that, you know what, why don't you just tell her that if she marries you will get her an air conditioner at home. And he was like, worked, they are married. See how hard it was. It was terrible. Yeah. So yeah, so I wrote this book in Berlin and in winter, and it was a wonderful writing process. It was really painful. The book is really dark. Okay, let me tell you this because a lot of you haven't read the book. Okay, because I do this talk and when I was doing the book tour in Taiwan, a lot of people, they didn't know me, so they read the book and they came to me and to the talk, they were expecting someone who will be moping around, who's brooding and who's doing, the melancholic sad faces and looking into the distance because essentially this is a dark, sad book. And they came to the talk and realized this guy is like, it's like this, And one guy actually came to me, actually, so sorry, that was a girl. She said, did you really write a book? I said, yeah, sure, I did. And she said, yeah, but it's nothing like you. But I think it's like because I was trained as a dramatic actor, so maybe it's like a role play kind of thing. I don't know. But please read the book. It's honestly a really good story, and there are a lot of hints, a lot of Easter eggs, and the revelation at the end is very good, right? So that's why I cannot share with you all the spoilers because there are a lot of spoilers, and you would be surprised at the end. I was really worried that people would not be surprised, and that the hints and the Easter eggs that I planned would not work, but they really, really worked. So read my book. Thank you so much. Bye.
you so much. Now the floor is open. We will add another couple of minutes to the time. Yeah, so that we do have some members from the audience who want to pose some questions.
Thank you. Do you need a microphone? Do you want to talk to the microphone?
Yeah, they need a microphone to the online audience.
Yeah, so the online people can hear that.
Hi,
Hi.
this is Chen. It's so glad to meet you. I wanted to discuss about memories on hometown with you. I have some similar experience with you. You said that your hometown Yongjing is a place where you want to get away from all your life. And I was born in the mainland of China, and when I was in China, I felt uncomfortable with everything that, including my parents. But since I came to the United States in the October of last year, things had seems to be changed. It seems that my memories about China were not that horrible, and the people in my memories were not that unforgivable. My relationship with my parents became better. So I wonder if you have some similar experience. If your memories on your hometown has been modified as time goes on, that's my question. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, I just want to tell you something. That memories are not exactly reliable. They could be tricky. Okay, I just talked about my my childhood room, right? So I was away for years. So I went home after like 3 or 5 years, and I went into my room where I really spent my childhood. And suddenly I felt like, why is it so small? Yeah, because somehow it was enlarged. It was being bigger and bigger in my imagination, in my memories. And I wasn't there. I was like, did I become fat or something? You know, because this space was so narrow. Why is that weird? Yeah. And I realized in the memories are not, that's why that's also an important point in the book as well. Memories are not entirely reliable. In this book, a lot of people say it's a difficult read from the start because I changed perspectives all the time. Each chapter is a different narrative, different point of view. I wanted to confuse people a lot, you know, and you have to be a smart person to be able to get in there, but just have a little bit of patience to really get in there. So when you talk about your love-hate relationship with your family, of course, distance helps, really, because if now we throw you back to where you're from, you know, things will be different with the distance, because when you're so close to your family, old problems and emotions will come out again, you know. But the thing is, use that ambiguity, because then you're in somewhere in between, right? I miss that, but I don't really want to go back. I want to go back, but not really, you know. And enjoy that, because it's wonderful. It's a privilege, actually, because not a lot of people get to experience that. Just remember this: most people don't even get to get out. Really, we are the lucky ones, you know, because I have a lot of childhood friends who are forever trapped in my hometown. It's you know, there's many reasons, yeah. So just remember that you were the lucky one and enjoy that. And of course, for me as well, like I always miss the food and my sisters, you know. And but once I'm back after 3 days, I'm like, oh my God, I'm flying back to Germany tomorrow, you know. So it's always like that, you know. So I guess for you guys as well, right? Because you're between Taiwan and America as well. Yeah, you're happy and everything. So it's like, but it's okay. Enjoy that. You know, you're somewhere in between. And I think that position, which is really hard to be defined, somewhere in between, is a great place to start for a beautiful and ambiguous life.
Right. So we can perhaps accommodate one more question from the floor. Sophie?
Sophie, thank you.
Thank you.
So, hi, my name is Sophie. So, I have a question about your writing experience and location. So, you have mentioned that you traveled to different countries during the researching process, and you did the writing in Germany.
Yeah.
And how did the distance or location affect Yongjing appears in your mind, and how did that affect your depiction on Yongjing? Do you find it different if you wrote Yongjing in Taiwan or in Yongjing? Thank you.
That's a very good question because physical distance is something that matters. And I realized that if I had to write a book in Yongjing, that wouldn't have worked, seriously. Because with that distance, it was so close that I couldn't just let go. Because I'm saying bad things, I'm writing bad things about this town. I call it 鬼地方, for God's sake, you know. So, and with that distance, I could just let go because what the heck, you know, and so I need that distance, and the distance really helped. You know, I have a German friend who is an author as well. His name is Stefan Komeich, and his name is Shi Jian. He's a very important writer in Germany. And the thing is, he's from Germany, but he writes only in Taipei. He writes all the books, you know, he's awarding books in Germany, which really won a lot of awards. But he can only write in German in Taipei. So we discussed on this topic as well. For him is because he's trash in Germany in many ways. So he could only do that with a proper physical distance, you know. So I think keeping the distance is a wonderful thing. So I of course that's for us. Like if you want to write about DC and you're here and that really helps you. That's great because it's different for everybody. But for me, having a proper physical distance is a wonderful thing because it somehow cools me down and it dials things back a little bit, you know. So because I think if I were in the very environment of Yongjing and when my sister was like nagging next to me and stuff, you know, I would never finish this book, you know. So somehow because I wrote about their nagging in the book, how sisters fight, because I love it when my sisters fight. It's wonderful. Sisters fight. If you guys have sisters, you know that, you know. And it's that wonderful energy is something I wanted to channel in the book. And I just, but if I were really, really there when they were fighting, I can never finish anything. I would just be agitated and aggravated, and I cannot do anything. So, because you're from Hong Kong and now you're in DC, right? Enjoy this distance.
Yeah, I will.
Thank you.
Well, I really hate my role as a timekeeper here, but well, our conversation can continue even though we have to wrap up the event. So thank you so much, Kevin, for your wonderful talk, and I want to also thank Claire for the comments.
Thank you so much. Claire.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Goodbye.